We're on.
Technical difficulties, everybody, but we are back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sports Talk with Austin and your daily dose of entertainment. And tonight on the show, we preview the upcoming college football week 0, week 1 with special guest Jackson Johnson. Jackson, I'm glad you're here, and aren't you glad football is back?
Oh man, Saturday's on its way, and it's an honor being on Sports Talk with Austin for the second time. Appreciate you having me on, man.
You're very much welcome, Jackson. You're always welcome here. I'm looking forward to talking some college football with you. But first, before we do that, what's the off season been like for you, Jackson? What have you been up to since college football has gone away? Enlighten the people.
Just keeping up with the NFL playoffs, seeing what's up with the NBA, seeing what's up with March Madness, just tweeting on Twitter a lot, just posting some content here and there. I'm around the neighborhood.
Yeah, once college football ends, it's kind of whatever you can find. If you're a big fan of the NFL, of course you got that, the NBA, all that. But never fear, Saturday night it is back. We no longer have to wait. And what better way to start it, Jackson, than with some week 0 games on Saturday? And my friend, you know where we should start? Let's go across the pond in Dublin, Ireland. Navy versus Notre Dame, 2:30 p.m. on NBC.
NBC.
Exactly. Looking forward to this. But Jackson, tell us, the first game of the season, what are you expecting? What are some of your thoughts? And who do you think is going to win this game?
Well, I'll be honest. I mean, Notre Dame Navy is a pretty good rivalry. I mean, it's going to be weird not seeing Coach Ken Toto Lolo. I think that's his name. I always get the name wrong, but Coach Ken, when he got canned last year, it was just like, oh man, he's gone from Navy. It just feels weird without him being there. So we see that Navy has a new coach. Guy's name is Brian Newberry. I don't know much about him, but hope he brings a lot of the intensity that Navy had with Paul Johnson and Coach Ken. As for Notre Dame, they're coming off a very disappointing 2022 season, and we're going to see whether they have a really good 2023 year. That all starts with the trip to Dublin, Ireland on NBC against old foe Navy.
Now, I would like to mention Notre Dame has made some big off-season moves. Sam Hartman is now the starting quarterback. Transferred from Wake. There's a lot of hype around him. Is he the guy that's going to get Notre Dame over the hump? For the longest time, Ian Book held it down for those years. He got him to a playoff, got him to the ACC title game when they had to join for that year in 2020 when the whole college football world was upside down. But Jackson, what are your expectations for Sam Hartman? Now that he's coming from Wake, now to Notre Dame, where there could be a lot of pressure on the young man to win a natty right off the bat.
I don't think that's going to happen, winning a natty, but I mean, he is expected to have some of the same production they had at Wake Forest, but better. I think he can get it done at Notre Dame.
And that's a good point, Jackson. I don't see Notre Dame as a national championship contender. I know the Sam Hartman train. There's a lot of hype. Everyone's thinking, whoop, whoop, here it comes, Marcus Freeman. Now that we got rid of BK, and now they think it's all coming. This is it. This is the big culmination, like Thanos, like the Thanos boot. Collects all the jewels, and here it comes. But I don't think Notre Dame fans are going to be very disappointed, in my opinion. They'll have a successful season, but a national title. Let's slow down. But on this game, though, Jackson, who do you have winning this game? Is Notre Dame on upset alert?
In past years, yes. But since this is a week 0 matchup, we don't really know what to quite make of Navy. I'm going to have to say it's going to be a 38-14 Notre Dame victory.
I will have to agree with you, Jackson. I think Notre Dame wins this game. I think they win it going away after a close first half. Sam Hartman and the offense has some struggles getting to know each other still. I have Notre Dame winning this game 34-16. I think the Irish get it done. Now, on to our next game. UTEP at Jacksonville State. 5:30 on CBS Sports Network. The bright lights are on UTEP. Jackson, what are your thoughts on this game?
Well, I don't know all that much about UTEP, but all I know about Jacksonville State is that's my mama's alma mater. And secondly, it's Rich Rod's second year as the head coach for Jacksonville State. And third of all, this is the first game that Jacksonville State is a Conference USA member. And it's going to be quite a fun one. And UTEP, I believe Dana DeMille is still their head coach. He's not been doing too hot, but then again, this is UTEP we're talking about. And yeah, Jacksonville State, it's going to be fun watching their first home game as a Conference USA member. It's going to be sweet watching that game.
Yeah, I'm with you on this one, Jackson. I don't know much about either side. They're smaller schools. I do know Jacksonville State is beginning their new journey. Hopefully it works out well. Hopefully great success. This is week 0. Anything can happen. I'm going to say UTEP wins this game, but I could see it being a 24-20, 27-24, a very low-scoring field goal type game. But I think UTEP wins this game. What do you think, Jackson? Who is your winner in this game?
I got Jacksonville State winning 28-24 at home. So that's going to be a win right there for Jack State.
We're split on this game. Well, let's see if we're split on this next game.
Oh, man.
The Ohio Bobcats. Bobcats at San Diego State, 7 p.m. on Fox Sports 1, FS1. Jackson, what are your thoughts on this game? And take it away.
Well, I mean, I guess we're not talking about San Diego State going to the Pac-12, right? I'm just kidding. But in all seriousness, though, there were some headlines about San Diego State. But as we know, Ohio's quarterback, Curtis Rourke, is coming back from an ACL injury that he suffered last November against Ball State. He will be able to return for this game. Now, he led the MAC conference with 3,256 passing yards for the season. Even though that wasn't a full season, it was 11 games they played in. Now, had he not gotten hurt against Ball State, I believe they would have won the MAC title against Toledo. But it's going to be fantastic seeing what Ohio brings in year 3 under Tim Albin. I believe that's the coach's name. But, like, He turned
Mm-hmm.
them around. From his first year was a 3-win season, 2021, but 2022 was a 10-win season. Now that was pretty fantastic. And Brady Hoke, we're continuing to see what he can do in his redemption tour at San Diego State. Might I add, he's been doing pretty good at his redemption tour.
It brings up a lot of interesting questions. Is San Diego State the favorite to win the Mountain West? In your opinion, Jackson?
I think Boise State's the favorite, but I wouldn't leave out San Diego State as a participant in the Mountain West title game. Not a smart move to leave them out.
Do you believe, looking on the other side of the spectrum, Jackson, do you believe Ohio is a contender to win the MAC this year?
Oh, yeah. As long as Rourke can stay healthy, they'll be good to go.
Now this game here, I think could go either way. But I'm leaning San Diego State. They're at home. I feel like they're going to have the advantage. Ohio is going to be traveling far from the East Coast all the way over to the West Coast. I think that time difference and playing earlier than normal and San Diego State, I feel like San Diego State wins this game 42-20. I think the Aztecs get it done. What do you think, Jackson? Who do you have winning this game?
I got Ohio winning 31-27 on that one.
Ooh, interesting. I like that. Going a little spicy. Okay.
Got
Now, look, talking about spicy, everyone's darling sweetheart team, Vanderbilt. Everyone is on the boat and they're ready to roll. But are they ready to roll against Hawaii, which will take place 7:30 p.m. on the SEC network? What's your thoughts and your opinions on this game, Jackson?
Oh man, there's gonna be SEC football. Oh wait, there's Vanderbilt. I saw a meme of that the other day, so it was like, oh man. But Clark Lee, he's done a fantastic job last year. He got him from 2 wins in his first year to 5 wins. Almost made it to a bowl game, but not quite. But we're seeing what Vanderbilt can do. Hawaii, we don't know all that much about them. Well, I don't know all that much about them, except that Timmy Chang is still their head coach. I hope he's not like the Scott Frost of the Group of 5. I mean, he was fantastic as a quarterback at Hawaii, but his head coach record, I mean, his first year was just disastrous. I hope it's not more of the same this year for Hawaii, but you never know.
Yes.
I want to see it be more like the Jim Jones, Colt Brennan years.
I would like to point out, although there is football being played, Hawaii is dealing with some very unfortunate circumstances with those wildfires in Maui, and now that they got to come all the way across the world to Tennessee to play Vandy. Do you think these unfortunate events will have an effect on Hawaii, or do you think they'll be ready to play Saturday?
I think it could be a little bit of both, honestly. I think they'll want to bring a little victory home for their state. So we could see something like that.
Now, do we believe that they will? I'm going to start off with you on this one, Jackson. Does Vandy start the season off a perfect 1-0, or does Hawaii play spoiler?
Well, now that you mentioned about that Maui Hawaii kerfuffle that's been going on over the past week or so, I want to see. Well, past couple weeks, my mistake. I want to see Hawaii win, but I don't believe that's going to happen. I think it's going to be a Vanderbilt 38-21 victory over Hawaii.
I tend to agree with you. I think Vandy's going to win this game. I think this starts their road to bowl eligibility. I think Vandy wins it in the ballpark of 27-17. It's not a runaway game, but they do get it done. Vandy gets it done. Now, you want to talk about special. This next game here, it's going to be something special. Not for the other team on the other side, but for the team that has the current Heisman winning quarterback. And obviously, you know who we're talking about. We're talking about them USC Trojans.
Caleb Williams, baby.
San Jose State goes up to the Coliseum, 8 p.m., unfortunately, on the Pac-12 network. So for folks at home watching, listening, if you don't have the Pac-12 network, you don't get to see the reigning Heisman, which sucks, but that's how the Pac-12 works. But Jackson, I think we all know how this game's going to turn out. But give me your thoughts and opinions on this game, and give me something you're looking forward to.
I'm looking forward to seeing more of Caleb Williams and Lincoln Riley, that dynamic duo. That's going to be amazing. And maybe it'll lead to a second straight Heisman. But I guess we'll wait and see. But as for San Jose State, I'm seeing that they went 7-5 last year. They were kind of meh. But yeah, that's pretty good. And they don't get an easy stretch after week 0. They got to go deal with Oregon State on week 1 on CBS.
What did they do to tick off the NCAA? I mean, you know what? They're like, San Jose State, we're going to throw you to USC. And then, after that, can you go play Oregon State? They need somebody to play. And then, after that, we'll give you somebody good you can play with, so to speak. Yeah. I mean, poor San Jose State. But I will say, do not sleep on this game. This game, would not be surprised if they take them past halftime. If you see a 20-10 score in USC's favor still, but San Jose State hangs tough, I would not be shocked. I think USC will win this game, but I think they can hang tough with them for at least a half.
Well, I think it's going to be.
Do you think USC can?
I think it's going to be
Go ahead, Jackson.
It's going to be a USC 49-24 victory over San Jose State. But something to watch out for is San Jose's defense has been good enough. I mean, their scoring defense was 29th in the nation. The running game on defense was 28th in the nation. The passing yards per game allowed were 51st in the nation. And the 20 total yards allowed were 32nd. Holy cow.
Mm-hmm. That makes a big difference. Now, before we move on to week 1, what is some expectations you think for week 0 that we should look out for, Jackson? What are some games that we've reviewed and talked about that may shock some people or maybe some bold predictions of yours?
Well, I mean, besides everybody being actually excited about UTEP or New Mexico State and UMass coming up, it's going to be a fun week. It's going to be fun watching a little bit of Ohio and San Diego State. We're going to get to see some of the mid-tier group of 5 schools bring out some of the magic that we normally wouldn't be seeing in say weeks 3 or weeks 1 or week 10, for example.
I cannot wait. I agree with you, Jackson. Especially that Ohio San Diego State game. The two favorites in their conference, arguably going at it, should be fun. But now, on to week 1. The games are on Thursday and Saturday, and we have an exception game on Friday. But you want to talk about prime time. You want to talk about starting the college football season off spicy hot. Let's start up in the mountains, shall we? Florida at number 14, Utah. Everybody remembers Cam Rising, the goal line pick. Can Cam Rising deliver the goods? Is he a big game player? Well, you'll get to find that out on Thursday, August 31st, 8 p.m. on ESPN. Jackson, I know you have to be pumped up about this game. And the folks on what...
Well, something to really watch for is that Utah has the 4th active longest home winning streak in college football with 14 straight victories. That is pretty big. I know that Cam Rising's still kind of recovering from that injury he suffered from the Rose Bowl, the ACL injury. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens. He should be able to play against Florida, but I hope he's 100% healthy for that game. As for Florida, their quarterback situation's been kind of with Graham Mertz as starting QB, but then again, maybe he was underutilized. He wasn't really utilized all that much at Wisconsin. So I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yes, I agree with you, Jackson. I think, the big question for this game is Cam Rising going to be healthy? He said to the media, he said to everything, I'll be fine. I'm going to be out there. I'm going to be the Cam Rising of old. Well, let me tell you something. He may say that he's the Cam Rising of old, that he's feeling normal again. When you tear something in your leg, in your knee, that changes everything for you. The Cam Rising that used to run and try to truck people, this year we're going to see a lot of Cam slide, because all it takes is one hit to that knee or one wrong turn or trying to hurdle somebody, and there you are. You tear it again, or you fracture it, or do something to it. And for Utah, their offensive line has a lot of returning starters. But their left tackle, we haven't seen much out of him. He's a new addition to the team. Dalton Kincaid, he's no longer there. A lot of the defense is brand new. And it's just, Utah's schedule does not get any easier from here. Now, Florida, on the other hand, talk about interesting. Billy Napier, almost he did get skunked in his bowl game last year. We all remember the pity 3 points he kicked. Everyone was crucifying him over that, saying, why would you kick the 3? Go for the touchdown. Make it look like you're trying. But now, we're here. Graham Mertz is the starting QB. There's no more Anthony Richardson. So Utah will not have to worry about a 70-yard, one-play touchdown. But with Graham Mertz, Florida fans, I know they've expressed their concerns. Can he stay proficient and not turn over the ball? Can he not throw 2 or 3 picks in a game? Because those are drive killers. And it's going to be very interesting. Last year was in Florida. This year, we're going to Rice-Eccles. Jackson, who do you have winning this game and why?
Well, for right now, I got Utah winning a tight matchup at 31-24, because it is going to be a close game versus Florida. I mean, they will bring their A game, but I think like some of the injuries Utah's been dealing with, I think that's going to help Florida a little bit. But something everybody needs to remember is if Florida does upset Utah, do not put the cart in before the horse like you did after last year when they beat Utah.
Jackson, you're telling me. All I heard from Florida fans were they were going to the playoffs, that they were going to beat Georgia, and I'm like, oh brother, like if Cam Rising wouldn't have thrown that pick at the goal line, y'all wouldn't have won that game. Because more than likely, if that game was done over, Cam Rising wouldn't make that same mistake twice. But that's last year. This is this year. For me, like you said, Jackson, it's going to be close. I don't expect this to be a blowout. I know a lot of people are expecting a blowout for Utah because they have to prove. People forget Florida plays teams tough. I mean, we all remember 2021. My co-host next to me realizes how good Florida can play some teams, like they did his boys at Bama. I mean, LSU. They play Georgia sometimes close. But this game, I got Utah winning, but it's going to be very, very close. I think it's going to be a 31-16 victory. I think it's going to be 2 touchdowns for right now, but that can change. We still have a couple weeks. But you know what, Jackson? Even though we know the results of this, but we have new beginnings now. And that is Mr. Matt Rule and those Nebraska Cornhuskers going at PJ Fleck and the Minnesota Golden Gophers, 8 p.m. on Fox. Jackson,
oh, yeah.
Give us your take on this game and what you're looking forward to. And how will Matt Rule do in this game?
Well, personally, it's hard to, go against either PJ Fleck or Matt Rule. But, I mean, Matt Rule's had a great journey. He's done such a fantastic job at Temple and Baylor. Can he continue the magnificent job at Nebraska? That's the question. Or is it going to be more like the Carolina Panthers? I think it's going to be more like how he did at Temple and Baylor, but that's too early to tell. As for Minnesota, we're going to see if they can get over the hump in the Big Ten West, but we're not sure because they don't really have all that many guys returning. So that's not a good thing if you're Minnesota. But they've had Nebraska's number over the past 5 years. So will they continue to have Nebraska's number? More than likely, yes.
Now, what is concerning for me, Jackson? I don't know if it's concerning for you, but Minnesota's defense is, kind of concerning, especially that passing defense. There's a lot of concern on that end that Minnesota may get picked apart this year on the defensive side, and is their offense going to be the same? What is your take on that, Jackson?
Well, let's see. The defense last year, Minnesota was 15th in passing yards allowed per game. Scoring defense was 4th in points allowed per game. They were 15th in rushing yards allowed per game. They were 8th in total yards allowed per game. I mean, it was pretty good, but they're losing a lot of key guys. And like you said, they may get picked apart because of those key losses.
Yeah, I agree. I think it could be troublesome. Now, the offense, there's some concern there. Is their offense going to be able to stay the same? What's your take on their offense, Jackson?
on their offense, well, Minnesota's offense passing game was a disaster last year. I mean, everybody wants to talk about Iowa's passing game being a disaster. Good Lord. Minnesota's passing game was such a disaster. The only way they got to go is up.
I agree. I think
It's just too bad that
it goes up from here.
It's just too bad they don't have Muhammad Abraham on their running game anymore. Such a shame.
Yeah, that's a big loss. Now, Nebraska in this game, I feel like this is week 1. They could catch Minnesota sleeping, but I think Minnesota, they're at home. I think PJ Fleck. I'm leaning towards Minnesota getting it done, winning it in convincing fashion, 27-13. I think the Golden Gophers start off with a big time win, and PJ Fleck gets it done. Jackson, who are you leaning towards in this game?
Well, at the moment, I'm leaning towards Minnesota, but things can change within a week. So that's kind of where I'm leaning.
But Jackson, you know what can't change? Is the beautiful city of Atlanta, Georgia. Hot Atlanta. And the Aflac kickoff game. 7:30 p.m. ESPN Friday night. My guys at Louisville are playing Georgia Tech. Now, this may be the most intriguing matchup before Saturday. Jackson, what is your take on this game?
Well, I'll say this. I'm looking forward to seeing what Brent Key and Georgia Tech bring in the first full year of the Brent Key era. But I'm looking forward to Louisville more, honestly, with the Jeff Brom hire. I mean, that's going to be amazing right then and there. I mean, all those recruits, I mean, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be a lot easier to compete in the ACC than it ever was at the Big Ten for him. So he's going to be fantastic. And after this, they got such an easy start with Murray State, Indiana, Boston College. I mean, it's going to be awesome watching Louisville. I mean, they may not have a lot of key guys returning, but the schedule's on their side.
Yeah, that is one thing that is in our favor, that the schedule does play in our favor. And yes, we lost Malik Cunningham, and now we have Jack Plummer coming in, which, I'll be honest with you, is kind of scary because what he was at Cal, it kind of scares me. Because at Cal, he could be really good, and then there's games where he throws 3 picks, and Cal fans are ready to throw him out the door. That kind of scares me. Yeah. But I think in this game, I expect that our running game will be enough, especially that Georgia Tech defense. The way it is, I feel like we should have the advantage. We should be able to win this game, but it is week 1. It is in a neutral site in Atlanta. Even though Georgia Tech is basically right down the road, I think this is a very complexing matchup. Couple first-year head coaches, very interesting, a lot of stories. Right now, I'm going to lean my guys at Louisville, but that could change. That could really change because Georgia Tech are very dangerous. They're a team that took Clemson a minute to beat them. Go ahead, Jackson.
Well, I read something today that Haynes King is the new starting quarterback for Georgia Tech. Now, I'm wondering if he'll do better at Georgia Tech than he ever did at Texas A&M. That's going to be the question. But will it be enough against Louisville? Not quite.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Jackson, speaking of not enough, good buddy. Virginia is going up to Knoxville to take on Tennessee, 12 p.m. on ABC.
Oh,
Well,
man.
where should we start? It? Let's be honest, Jackson. Do we think this is going to be a game Virginia can hang around in? Because Tennessee has a lot of hype. Josh Heupel, they're expecting big things. Virginia, they're expecting a lot of big things. Tennessee fans, now that they have beaten your boys at Bama, are expecting to win the SEC, are expecting to go to the college football playoffs, win the whole thing. What's your take on this game, Jackson? Is the hype real for Tennessee?
Yeah, I think it could be. I mean, they've shown what they can do with a good quarterback. Joe Milton, I wonder if he can bring that same magic that Hendon Hooker did. They say he can, but let's wait and see. I want to see what he can bring, especially on week 1. Hey, yo, Traveling Fools, how's it going, man?
What's up, Traveling Fools? Welcome to the party. You just arrived. We're talking about Virginia and Tennessee, the game of the century. So get your popcorn ready.
There you go, man.
Go ahead, Jackson.
But yeah, Virginia, well, I look at it and I think to myself, I can see why Tennessee replaced BYU with Virginia. Because BYU is a little harder. Virginia is pretty easy to beat. I'm thinking that's going to be a 45-14 victory for Tennessee.
Yes, with all due respect, though, to Virginia, I'm going to try to make this make you interested. Virginia, Tony Elliott, he comes from the Clemson DNA of Dabo Swinney and company. Can he apply that here? I don't think they're going to upset Tennessee. I know maybe sell you on it, but let's be real. Joe Milton's going to have a day, and I think Tennessee's going to roll this game. And then the only thing that would save Virginia would be if Tennessee's defense is not fixed, and they could run the ball or maybe could pass the ball a little better. But other than that, I think Tennessee could probably win this game. Now, you want to talk about a game, Jackson, that I don't need to sell you on? I mean, this game right here.
Oh, man.
As you can see. This game right here. Big new.
The defending national runner-up TCU versus Colorado, the team we've heard about all off season with Coach Primetime. Oh man,
yes,
all the transfers that Colorado's added in the off season. Oh man, that's gonna be. I'm so looking forward to it, and I do wonder if TCU can bring that same offensive production with Kendall Briles that they did with Garrett Riley last season.
Yes, I think, and which, by the way, this game is 12 p.m. on Fox. Big noon kickoff will be there live. So if you happen to be there, great. You're going to love the atmosphere there, which we will get to, but College Game Day passed this up, which we'll get to the game that they picked later. But as far as this game here, there could not be more hype surrounding this game than I've ever seen. What 5-17 do we know, Jackson, that is on Big Noon Kickoff the next year against the national runner-up and is getting the most hype? This does not happen without Deion. If Deion doesn't come to Colorado, this game's just like, oh, TCU. They gave him a cream puff to start the season. It's all good.
Oh, yeah.
And in fairness, go ahead, Jackson.
Like if Coach Prime wasn't at Colorado, they would either put that on ESPNU or they would put it on Fox Sports 1.
Yeah, let's be honest. They would have. They would have put it on there. Yeah. Like if Coach Prime would have went to Toledo, for instance, they would have been hyping that game up. That would have been the big noon kickoff, which we'll get to them in a minute. But for this, Coach Prime's here in Colorado. He's going to take them to the promised land. He's going to get them to where they want to go in their new journey. Can they have a USC-esque turnaround? I think they can, because look at what they brought in. They were able to bring in a couple 5-stars. They were able to flip a 5-star. Chenault Sanders, Deion's son. I hear is a pretty good quarterback. I haven't seen him play, so we'll have to see that on tape. But Deion has changed the culture in Colorado already, and he's just started. Just imagine when we get to year 5 if he's still there. We could be talking about Colorado playing for conference titles and possibly natties. Now, I know I need to take a chill pill on the primate. I'm drinking too much. But Jackson, maybe you're the voice of reason. What are your thoughts on this?
I think TCU's going to win it 42-24 right now.
And Traveling Fools says Colorado loses by 24 plus. Oh boy, he is not very high on the Buffs. I mean, you're not the only one there, Traveling Fools. There's been a lot of people I've talked to within the Voice of College football community and just in the Twitter/X, whatever you'd like to call it, in general, that aren't buying the hype, that aren't quite ready to accept Prime yet, which is cool. Like, it takes some time. Not everybody can do what Lincoln Riley did in year 1. But I will also have to pay respect to TCU. What they did last year was nothing short of incredible. They were a team everyone counted out. They went from unranked to the third best team in the nation. And then they ended up getting smacked by Georgia. Whole nother story. They've lost a lot. Max Duggan's gone. Quentin Johnson's gone. Their defensive players have transferred out or left or just gone. I may shock some people, okay? But right now, I'm going prime time in Colorado. I'm on the hype train. Save me a seat. Give me all the prime age you want. I think Colorado upsets TCU. Now, you want to talk about not upsets. Number 3, Ohio State at Indiana, 3:30 p.m. CBS. Now, the significance of this game, as my good partner Jackson always loves to point out, is this is the first Big Ten game on the CBS era.
Yep.
Take it away, Jackson.
Well, I mean, the last time Ohio State was on CBS was on 1998 versus West Virginia. That was when CBS had the SEC and Big East TV contracts back then. And Indiana's been on CBS Sports Network, although I've been busting my rear end looking for whether Indiana's ever been on CBS. And on basketball, yes, but football, no. Sorry to say Indiana football, but I can't quite find you on CBS Network, but you've been on several games on CBS Sports Network. So
now,
but we'll
Jackson,
be pulling for you.
Yes. Is there an upset in the making here, or is Ohio State going to take them out to the woodshed, as you so famously like, and give them a beat down. They are having a little quarterback battle.
Yeah.
That could affect this game just a wee bit. What's your take?
Unfortunately, I think Ohio State's going to get out the belt and give them a spanking in the second half. That's what's going to happen.
Yes, I agree. Sorry, Indiana fans. We would love for you to upset Ohio State. We would love that. But we have to be somewhat realistic here. Ohio State, whether they use one quarterback, whether they use two, it's probably going to be spanking. Now, you want to talk about a quarterback, Jackson, that we know is going to be starting, and a quarterback that many people are calling
Indiana.
The second. I mean, yes, he is. And many people believe he is a Heisman favorite.
Oh, yeah.
How will he start his Heisman journey? Michael Penix and the Huskies. Number 10, Washington. Boise State comes and visits number 10, Washington, 3:30 on ABC. Jackson, take it away.
Oh, man, this guy was second in the nation in passing yards for the season last year. He was just fantastic. And I got a feeling he's going to bring some more of that fantastic magic again this season. Boise State, I know they're the Mount West favorite. Question is, can Andy Avalos, we're not expecting you to beat Washington, but can you keep it close with them? That's the question there. Can you keep up some of that magic that Chris Peterson and Brian Harsin had?
Yes, that's a big key, especially against Washington. It is in Washington. That's a big difference. Now, is this a potential upset game, Jackson? You know?
No.
Is this an upset special?
I want to say yes, but no. No.
That's fair.
But I will say, though, it was a big win for Washington that they were able to keep offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb. For those who haven't kept up, Alabama tried getting him to be the new offensive coordinator to replace Bill O'Brien. But when he said, no, I want to run it back with Washington for 2023, that's when everybody was pretty happy with Washington. They were celebrating and having a good time after that announcement. Although Jen Cohen leaving for USC to become the new AD there is going to hurt them a little bit, I think they'll be able to have a little drink with their sorrows by beating up on Boise State on week 1. This isn't the Boise State of old, ladies and gents.
Yeah, and unfortunate as that is, it is still an interesting game because it's week 1. Crazy things can happen. Maybe Boise State somehow finds a way to win this thing. But I agree, Jackson. Right now, I'm leaning Washington. Michael Penix, Huskies looking to be prime and ready to make the next leap in the Pac-12. Maybe even make a playoff berth. We'll have to see. But right now, I'm leaning Washington with you. Now, on to the next game. This is an interesting game. UTSA, the Roadrunners, at the Houston Cougars. 7 p.m. on Fox Sports 1, FS1. Now, this game is probably going to be slept on because of what takes place 30 minutes later. But, Jackson, I know this is a game that you've had circled. So, tell us what you love about this game and take it away.
Well, like last year, it was a triple overtime nail biter for Houston as they beat UTSA in a 37-35 victory. But another thing is, this is the first game as an AAC member for UTSA. And this is the first ever game in the Big 12 era for Houston Cougars football. Let me tell you, that in of itself is going to be amazing. And we're going to see some more magic from Jeff Traylor and Frank Harris. Now, they can't quite get it done in the bowl games thus far. I think Frank Harris is winless in bowl games, but he can get it done in the regular season. I mean, this guy is fantastic. He was throwing for 4,063 passing yards for the season, and he threw 32 touchdown passes last season. I mean, this guy is fantastic. He's amazing.
Yes. I agree, Jackson. I agree. But Houston, the new move to the Big 12 after being in the American, going to be very interesting. UTSA,
yeah. Well,
Houston.
Oh, yeah. Well, last year, Houston was expected to do so much more, but then they had that 8-5 year. They were losing the Texas Tech. They were getting beat down by Kansas. They blew a shot against Tulane. They allowed 77 points against SMU. You kidding me? SMU, and you're letting yourself get humiliated on the NFL Network? Oh, great googly moogly. You kidding me? 77 points? Get a better defense. Oh, man.
What is this, basketball?
Well, with the with the AA, with Houston's SMU, it is. And, I mean, Houston is in the Big 12, and I'm sure SMU's been trying to apply for the Big 12 for who knows how long. I mean, that was a pretty good audition right there, scoring 77 points on the NFL Network. And then they lose a tight one to Tulsa last year. I mean, and the fact that the school president said you will get fired if you have a 7-win, and this was like before Dana Holgorsen even showed up to Houston. That's like the rule there. You don't have an 8 or 9-win season at Houston, you're out of there. I mean, I know I did an interview with Parker Ainsworth, Locked On Cougs, and we talked about how that stance might have been changed because Houston was in the AAC at that time when that rule was made. Now that Houston's joining the Big 12, that's going to get overlooked for at least a little
bit. Yeah, I think it will too. But I will say this. UTSA, they're a very dangerous team. They've got this game, and then week 3, they get Tennessee. So these are 2 pivotal proving games.
Well, they are. Well, UTSA is the favorite in the AAC. So, I mean, they'll be able to catch. They could catch Tennessee while they're napping in week 4. That'll be neat.
Yes, that could very well happen. I think right now I'm leaning UTSA for this game. I think Frank Harris and those Roadrunners meet, get it done. I think offense going to be fantastic again. Defense, I think it'll be stellar. I think Houston's going to struggle, even though it is in Houston. I still think UTSA starts their season off right with a win. What do you think, Jackson? Who do you have winning this game, or where are you leaning at the moment?
At the moment, I'm saying it's going to be a 35-24 victory for UTSA.
Now, you want to talk about possible upsets? Well, look no further than the Toledo Rockets at the Illinois Fighting Ills, 7:30 p.m. Big Ten Network.
Oh, yeah.
You want to talk about an upset? We could be looking at one right here. Now, Jackson, I want to ask you, are you a Brent Bielema believer? You believe he could take Illinois to new heights, or do you think he's a one-hit wonder?
I think he can take Illinois to new heights. I mean, he did such a great job last year. I mean, we saw the work he did at Wisconsin. He was fantastic over at Wisconsin. He did pretty good at Arkansas, but I think it's that whole the rabid fan bases that got him fired at SEC Nation. So I think they let the one bad year do, they kind of just were like spazzing out over the one bad year. They were just like, oh well, we're not working through that. You're out of here, bud. But he's been fantastic at Illinois, and he's going to be fantastic again. Although he does lose Ryan Walters to Purdue, and that's an in-conference play. That's going to be a nightmare for Illinois. I mean, I'm not saying that Illinois won't have a great defense. It's going to be great, but it's not going to be as great as it was last year. It's going to decrease a little bit. Now, will that show against Toledo?
Yes.
We don't know. Toledo is the defending MAC champions. They won the MAC last season. And Jason Candle, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm surprised he hasn't left for a bigger school. I mean, we want to sit and talk about Miami, Ohio being the cradle of coaches. Let's talk about Toledo being the modern day cradle of coaches. Because, I mean, they've had Gary Sprinkle, Matt Campbell, Nick Saban come from there. Who's to say Jason Candle won't be added to that list? And also, there's been at least one upset every season since 2006 where a MAC team has upset a Big Ten team. This game, for me, is a toss-up. Now, I know Illinois is favored by 9 on this game. I think that's a little too high.
I agree with you, Jackson. I do. I think that's a little too high. But I'm glad you brought up their defense. Witherspoon, Devin Witherspoon, taken top 10 in the draft, I do believe, to the Seahawks. And a lot of people were surprised that they took him that high. But he was a stud at Illinois. You could put him anywhere on the field, and he would take care of business for you. That's going to be a huge hit for that defense. And I feel Toledo could take advantage of that. So their pass defense is going to be a little more vulnerable. Their run defense, I think, is still going to be good. This game is 50-50 for me as well because of the fact that there is a lot of questions. Is Brent Bielema, is he going to stay consistent? Is he going to turn into that pumpkin? And will he have another great season, or will he miss a bowl game and do what he always does in some Illinois fans' eyes? But this is 50-50 for me right now. Toledo, very dangerous. And like you said, Jackson, a MAC team upsetting another Big Ten team, very well possible. Very well possible. Now, you want to talk about possible? Well, it's possible that Neil Brown doesn't survive very long because on NBC Saturday Night Football, they're going up to number 7 Penn State, 7:30 on NBC. Anywho, Jackson,
a little backstory on Penn State, West Virginia. Was that it was an old rivalry at one point, although it was a very lopsided rivalry. Penn State, who would you guess? Penn State always had the upper hand over West Virginia. So that was the thing, though. But this year, we're going to see Penn State have the upper hand again over West Virginia. Drew Lawler's going to pad those stats, and we're going to see Todd Blackledge have a little taste of the town in his alma mater at State College. Don't know what restaurant I'll go to, though.
Now, this is interesting. Does Neil Brown survive the season, in your opinion, Jackson? Because this is a big game. If he wins this game, West Virginia fans are going to start saying unrealistic things, like they're gonna make the playoffs or some type. They're going to turn into Florida. Heavens knows, West Virginia fans can get a little rowdy. But is this the biggest game in Neil Brown's career? Is this going to save his job one way or the other? In your opinion, Jackson?
Well, a friend of mine told me a few months back that he doesn't necessarily need to win Penn State. He just can't lose to Duquesne and Pittsburgh. He can't be like losing any other game in September. Now, if he keeps it close versus Penn State, it's going to cool his seat a little bit. If he pulls off the upset, terrific. He doesn't need to win against Penn State, but he does have to win the other games.
Yes. And here's the thing, Jackson. If he loses to Duquesne the next week, you might as well just pack his stuff up in that packing vehicle, and they're going to run him out of town. They don't care if he beats Pitt or not.
If he's losing to Duquesne, that's a dead man walking the next day.
Yes. But in this game, Penn State, they're number 7. There's a lot of hype on them. Many people believe this is the year that they can beat Ohio State and Michigan and win the Big Ten, which is a big statement. And there's many people that believe they can even win the Natty. That's how high they got them going.
Oh, man.
But I think for this game, for right now.
Well, you and I both know a guy that really. Well, you and I both know a guy that really believes that Penn State can win the Big Ten, although that means they'll have to get over the hump over at least one of Michigan or Ohio State. That's all they got to do, and they're good to go.
Mm-hmm. Now, in this game, I'm leaning Penn State. I think Penn State, this will be a close game for at least 3 quarters. And then Penn State's gonna wake up, and then they're just gonna rattle. I think it's gonna be a 38-14 Penn State win. Is where I'm leaning right now. Could that change? Highly doubt it. But for the sake of it being a couple weeks out, you never know. Jackson, who do you have winning this game, or where are you leaning? No upset in your book either? I didn't think so. I mean, poor West Virginia, they can't catch a break, can they? But You know something, Jackson? You want to talk about a game that is 50-50 to the bone? Why, look at this. ABC Saturday night football, prime time. Drake May, Spencer Rattler. Number 21 North Carolina goes and visits South Carolina. Jackson, I know this is a game that you're going to get your popcorn ready to watch.
Oh, yeah.
So give us some interesting takes and feedback on this game, if you would.
Well, I mean, Drake May, everybody's talking about Caleb Williams and Drake May for the NFL draft. I mean, Drake May's amazing. Spencer Rattler, he did awesome in those final 2 games of the regular season, then fell apart in the bowl game against Notre Dame last year. Now we're just kind of seeing whether Spencer Rattler's kind of continuing that magic, or if it's or if he's kind of a fluke. We don't know, but we're certainly going to find out on Saturday Night Football and College Game Day over in Charlotte, North Carolina, for North Carolina, South Carolina. But if you want to beat North Carolina, all you got to do is run all over that defense and just beat Drake May, and you're good to go. You don't have to do anything. Just beat Drake May. That defense can't do anything to you. I mean, good Lord. It's 115th in total defense.
Yes. People want to rag on USC's defense, North Carolina says hold my beverage, would you? I mean,
I think
North
I'm gonna
Carolina.
I'll go as far as say is North Carolina's defense is worse than Iowa's offense.
Wow. Woo. I'm glad Iowa fans aren't watching this right now. They might be offended by that.
Well, I mean, I got a feeling from the Hawkeye the Storm won't like that too much, but I'm just like,
yeah.
Well, more so North Carolina fans, they're probably going to be mad at me that I'm like saying their defense is worse than Iowa's offense. I mean, at least Iowa's offense is doing their best. North Carolina's defense is falling apart against Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech. You don't do that.
Yes. I mean, let's be honest, Jackson. They made Notre Dame look like a high-powered offense. So sorry to all Irish fans out there, including our good buddy Willie D, who we love like a brother. But let's be honest. They made Notre Dame look like a high-powered offense. And all they did was run the ball. I mean, Notre Dame basically said, oh, we're going to run the ball. Stop us. Oh, no, you can come through here. Oh, you can come through this side too. Oh, you know what? We'll even leave someone wide open for a pass. I mean, if North Carolina doesn't get that fixed, it's going to be a long season. And with the way their schedule starts, we could be looking at an 0-5 start. Seriously. But as for this game,
South Carolina's going to win.
As for this game, the only concern I have for South Carolina is, can Spencer Rattler play up to the Heisman level potential everyone saw in him? Can he be efficient and not throw 2 or 3 picks every time he gets on the field? If he goes 2 or 3 weeks and then throws a pick, then it'll be okay. Go ahead, Jackson.
Personally, I don't think 2 games automatically make you a Heisman contender. If he played like that for the whole season, then we're talking.
Yes. I think a lot of his hype came from Oklahoma, and then they expected to transfer to South Carolina, and it didn't quite. Now, if he could continue this stretch, and then he could start the season off really good, Caleb Williams could and Michael Penix could have a little contender there. But if he's the Spencer Rattler who's throwing pick sixes and fumbling, South Carolina fans, you're in for a long year. Now, Jackson, after all these exciting Saturday night games, you're footballed out, and you just want to chillax and watch a nice, relaxing game to kind of calm your mind, why not turn on Coastal Carolina at UCLA, 10:30 p.m. on ESPN? The final Pac-12 After Dark game.
Yeah.
Pac-12 After Dark, the beginning of the end. Because after this year, well,
we don't even know what the fate is yet, but the plug hasn't been officially pulled yet, but we know it's coming soon for the Pac. Because we're hearing talks about Cal Stanford. We don't know if they're joining the ACC yet. Oregon State, Washington State are the ones that are the ones really suffering. But UCLA, this is their final year before they head over to the Big Ten. And they had an easy non-conference schedule last year, but I believe this year is probably going to be it's a little bit harder than last year's because, they have Bowling Green, Alabama State, South Alabama, but, Kane Womack kind of kept it close with them. This year they got, right now we're talking about Coastal Carolina. Then they got to go play San Diego State on CBS. That's a revenge game for San Diego State. Then they got North Carolina Central. But can we see are we going to see Dante Moore become starting QB on Pac-12 After Dark? That's the question there. And are we going to see Grayson McCall help Coastal Carolina pull off that upset or is the hiring of Tim Beck going to bring down Coastal Carolina a little bit? That's the question. Now, UCLA is the 14.5 favorite in this game.
I would take the money on that one. I feel that Coastal Carolina, if Jamie Chapman was there, I feel like that spread would be a little more to 5.5, 7. But since he's not, they're not sure. But this game right here, do not sleep on this game. UCLA, they could lose this game, in my opinion. I think this game right here is going to be very close. I personally expect this game to be a down to the wire. I think it'll be a last-second victory either way. And the big question is Chip Kelly's seat getting hot in UCLA? Or maybe is the NFL starting to call him up and say, hey, Chip, you want to come be the offensive coordinator again? Andy Reid needs a new offensive coordinator in 2024. You want to come win a Super Bowl? Mahomes will make you look good, better than UCLA.
Maybe Nick Saban will call him to be his new. Maybe Nick Saban could call him to be his new OC.
I mean, very well could be. But as far as the hot seat head coaching talk, are you buying into it, Jackson? That if he doesn't reach a certain threshold, that his seat's going to be a little warm, or there is a hot seat, and he might be fired after this year.
Oh, he's not getting fired after this year, but if he is having if he doesn't get close to a 10-win season in the final year of the Pac-12, he could most definitely be on the hot seat. They'll just make that little announcement of Chip Kelly is going to return for the 2024 season, which that's not a good thing if you get a vote of confidence. That means your butt is on the line.
Yes. I mean, just ask Neil Brown. He's been through it. But on this game, though, I'm saying Coastal Carolina right now is going to upset UCLA on the road. Another little spicy take, but I'm thinking it's going to be a 34-31 shootout. Grayson McCall and Coastal Carolina upset UCLA. Jackson, do you have the same sentiment, or you thinking Dante Moore and company are going to win this game at home?
I'm thinking Coastal Carolina could beat the spread, but I'm thinking it's more like a 31-20 victory by UCLA.
I like that pick. I like it. I think it's very interesting.
Although if anybody's picking UCLA to beat the spread, I don't think anybody's going to be too happy when watching the Scott Van Pelt show on SportsCenter for the bad beats.
Oh no! Now you know it's not a bad beat, Jackson. We get more games on Sunday and Monday. If Saturday isn't thrilling enough, let's go to Sunday and let's talk about some of the Sunday and Monday games. And you know what, Jackson? You know, the Big Ten, they need another feature game for CBS. And what better way to feature a game of two absolute possible dumpster fires of Northwestern at Rutgers, 12 p.m. on CBS. Now, I will preface this, Jackson, before you take off. Northwestern, you know, that all that stuff with Pat Fitzgerald and stuff, whether that's true or not, we have no clue. We're just going to focus on this game here at hand. So, Jackson, in your opinion, who needs to win this game more?
I think in a way, Rutgers needs it more for bowl eligibility, but in all honesty, both teams most definitely need this one. Because you got to win this game, boys. As for like
Mm-hmm.
Northwestern, they've been on the longest active losing streak in college football with 11 games. So, I mean, the only easy wins I can find for them are like UTEP and Howard after this game. That's it.
Now, I will say this. Northwestern, they've had a lot of turnover. Obviously, because of the Pat Fitzgerald and everything else. In a way, like you said, Jackson, both need this game. Both teams almost is a must-win game. You lose this game, it's going to set you up badly. But in a way, like you said, Jackson, Rutgers kind of does need this more because Northwestern is kind of in shambles. And if Rutgers loses this game, oh boy, the hot seat talks and everything else is going to begin. So for me, this is a toss-up game. I don't know if I could really pick a winner right now because a certain person of ours once famously said Rutgers is going to have a better defense than Northwestern. Which I don't know how true that's going to be, but let's be honest. More than likely, that statement's going to be true. But as far as this game goes, Jackson, have you decided to lean one way or another with this game, or you kind of still 50-50? As well as I am.
I'm going Rutgers, but I'm not ready to make a prediction on it yet. Oh, man.
I'm with you. I'm going to say I'm leaning Rutgers, but I'm not confident. I'm not confident.
Well, we are confident they'll have a better defense than Northwestern.
Yeah, we're confident in that at least. Jackson, segueing, you want to talk about confidence? Oh brother. This is too much confidence. Number 5, LSU, and number 8, Florida State in Orlando, Florida, 7:30 p.m. Sunday night on ABC. Now, Jackson, me and you have had conversations off air. These have got to be the two most hyped teams heading into 2023. You've got LSU and their delusional fans saying BK has done past Nick Saban, that they've done past the Alabama dynasty. And then you've got people predicting Florida State's going to win the ACC, go unbeaten. They're going to win they're going to win it all. Jackson, bring some sanity back to this conversation, please, because these are the two biggest egos I think I've ever seen. Go ahead.
Well, three of the 10 teams that Florida State beat last season had winning records, but to put it more into context, they beat LSU because of a lot of luck and a missed extra point by LSU. Week 3, sorry to say, but your boys at Louisville were mediocre with Satterfield, but it took a long while for Florida State to beat Louisville. And then later on, they beat a really mediocre, collapsing Syracuse team with a 38-3 victory. And, Miami's not exactly 1987 Miami. Florida's not exactly 1996 Miami. I mean, 96 Florida, sorry. But I can't talk right tonight. And Oklahoma was falling apart last year. So, I mean, I wouldn't be bragging about having a 10-win season in that status. And as for LSU, had KJ Jefferson been healthy for the LSU game, I think Arkansas would have pulled off an upset over LSU. And then we see LSU falling apart against Texas A&M, and everybody likes to talk about how Brian Kelly beat Bama. Well, here's the thing. He can win big games in regular season, but he can't win the big games in the postseason. No, I don't count the Citrus Bowl as a big game. Sorry.
Jackson, so you're telling me. Hold on, Jackson. You're telling me that the Citrus Bowl against that daunted Purdue team, you're telling me that's not a big accomplishment? I mean, we are talking about Purdue, who did go to the Big Ten championship game now. So you're telling me that's not a big win? Man.
Well, here's the thing. They didn't have their head coach. They had their interim coach, and they looked depleted. They wanted out of that room. They were just like, we're not taking this beat down by LSU. They allowed 63 points against LSU. And everybody's like, oh, LSU. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but who?
Who? But I will say, in all seriousness, though, LSU, congratulations. You know, you were able to get out of Ed Orgeron issue that he caused for you. But like Jackson said, you're bragging about beating a Purdue team that was depleted, that had nobody on it almost. I mean, I get it. You beat Alabama. That's like your natty. That's fine. But you cannot be bragging that, oh, we put 63 up on Purdue. What did you do, Alabama? Have you heard of a thing called the All-State Sugar Bowl? Have you heard of Kansas State and the Big 12 champs? I mean, let's be honest. Florida State and LSU fans are getting a little ahead of themselves, just a wee bit. But this game right here, though, is going to decide a lot. Because the winner of this game, more likely, is going to set themselves up for success.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Jackson, is this game obviously it's a must-win, but who needs this game more? Who has to win this game? LSU or Florida State, in your opinion?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would say LSU is going to need it more because everybody's saying, can Brian Kelly win the big games? And can they get it done? Now, it's going to be really awesome seeing a shootout between Jordan Travis at Florida State and Jaden Daniels at LSU. That's going to be amazing. But can either team have better clock management skills than last year? I mean, Mike Norvell's clock management skills last year, it reminded me, it was eerily similar to Les Miles at LSU against Ole Miss in 2009. I'm like, somebody get Les Miles some eye contact or something, because he couldn't tell how much time was left. I mean, it's like you're spiking the ball with 1 second left. Really? Good grief.
Yeah, that as far as who needs this or who needs it more, I have to kind of agree. LSU, since they're in the SEC, you know, this is going to set their season up for success. Florida State's going to have another opportunity because they get Clemson 3 weeks later.
Oh, yeah.
So I think personally, so Florida State's going to get another chance to make an impression. LSU, they win this game, they're set up really good because if they can beat Bama 2 years in a row and Florida State and only lose to, say, Georgia, they could be a playoff team. But if they lose this game and then lose to Bama, then it's kind of, okay, you get a New Year's Six, but you don't get to go to the playoffs. And BK, once again, is BK, of course. But as far as this game goes, Jackson, right now I'm leaning LSU. I think they get it done. I think Brian Kelly, has the team. I think they show that Florida State's kind of a little more overhyped than they are. But do you have a prediction or leaning one way or the other or anything else on this game?
At the moment, I'm leaning towards LSU, but when it gets to next week, by this time, I'll know more on who I think could win this game.
As Traveling
Agreed.
Fools points out perfectly, Traveling Fools says means more for LSU to win. FSU is in the superior conference, so they can afford a loss. I see how he's trying to boost the ACC up. I appreciate that, Traveling Fools, but let's be honest, the SEC is still the best. ACC will get to its glory days eventually. It'll get back to that. But speaking of the ACC, Jackson, we got to talk about Clemson. We can't go a whole show
ACC.
and not talk a little Clemson. Number 9, Clemson goes at Duke, 8 p.m. ESPN Monday night. College football on a Monday night. Jackson, take it away.
Oh man, Riley Leonard at Duke. I mean, he was amazing last year, and he's going to be amazing again this year. I mean, last year Duke had a 9-win season in the first year of Mike Elko. That was amazing from where things were at in the final years of David Cutcliffe. Don't get me wrong, David Cutcliffe did a good job and all, but Mike Elko has done a fantastic job in his first year. And I don't think they're going to upset Clemson. But I mean, if Clemson had the same offensive coordinators as last year, then I would say Duke has a chance at a Labor Day upset. But because Clemson has hired Garrett Riley to be the OC, I'm thinking that's going to be a dominating victory by Clemson. Hope I'm wrong, but I wouldn't be surprised if Clemson smacks around Duke for a little bit.
Yeah, I will say too on Duke, Jackson, their schedule last year, everyone was like, "Oh, Duke went 8-4." Well, their schedule was kind of favorable. There weren't very many games that you look at and say, "Oh, this is a certain loss. Oh, this is not going to end well." Duke got the favorite end of the stick, so to speak. Now this year, starting off against Clemson at home, there is some potential upset factor here, but like you said, Jackson, Garrett Riley, I think with Kenny Klubnik in that offense, and of course Clemson's defense is going to be firing all cylinders. Right now, I think Clemson takes this game, but it is week 1, so you never know. It's going to be very interesting. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was our week 0, week 1 preview. I hope y'all enjoyed it. We're looking forward to it. But Jackson, before we go, would you like to promote yourself, good sir? Let the people know what you're up to, what you're cooking over there on the Jacksonian. Promote away.
Well, I am going to have episode 9 tomorrow or Wednesday night with Sidelines Arizona. Yes, you can check me out at Jackson Johnson 979, where I have my latest Jacksonian episodes, and I will be having some clips from the Jacksonian real soon. You can always check out my clip from JT Wishshire, where he talked about his reaction to Colorado leaving for the Big 12 from a Utah perspective at the time. And there's another clip where Melissa Triebwasser and I talked about whether TCU Colorado got snubbed by College Game Day. And there's another clip, but don't worry, there's more clips coming your way. And you can also check me out on Twitter, where I just kind of tweet about all kinds of things, talk about college football, NFL. And I just give out my random takes of the day here and there outside of the sports world. You can also check me out on Instagram, where I post on my Instagram stories and post about my predictions and what's going on in the college football, NFL world. And you can also check me out on Threads, where I basically just do the same thing as Twitter, but you can't be able to edit your stuff on Threads so far. Maybe they'll get that fixed.
Well, I would like to thank everyone for joining us tonight. College football is back. It should be a fun weekend of games. And make sure to check out Jackson and his channel. He does a lot of great work over there, great content. Check out his interview tomorrow night with the Arizona man. Should be interesting. But as always,
3 more days till kickoff.
He's Jackson. Peace out. Peace out.